Hello, welcome back to my car. My plan today is to read through Subject 2 in my journal. I personally enjoyed, well, I don't know if that's the best word for it, but I think that going through Subject 1 was a good thing, good for me at least. But I got a comment on my last video that included a lot of, it was a big comment. It had a lot going on in it. But something that keeps coming up is accountability. And, I do want to be honest about my accountability, like the part that I played, the choices that I made. But at the same time, like, I don't know, like, have you been listening? Because I tried to stand up for the right thing when I was a child, and they hit me and forced me to accept their beliefs and made me a worse person for 20 years. Like, it's taken me a long time to deprogram what they beat into me. All those strategies I was talking about, all those things that I was doing to be a bad person, like looking for scapegoats and victim blaming, like denying the truth, that's them. That's their beliefs. That's what makes them so shitty, and that's how they're treating me now. And I tried to fight it. I could see that as a kid. I could see how shitty they were as a kid, and I tried to fight it, and they hit me until I had to accept what they were telling me, even though I knew that it was wrong. I basically had to play along, and at a certain point, especially after they took me from my friends, I lost track of what's what. Like, I didn't have a grounded network. I didn't have any grounding to reality. They broke that. And no one seems to understand how harmful that is to a child, to a developing person. But it was super harmful, and it fucked me up for 2 decades, and it is their fault. I tried to stop it. I tried to, like, stand up for the right thing. I tried to stand up for the truth. I tried to stand up for myself, for how they were treating me. And they just hit me. They hit me until I cried. They made me accept their beliefs. They sent me to a camp, wiped my mind, take me from my friends, take me from my good school. They beat the sense out of me and replaced it with harmful bullshit and made me a shitty person. And I treated my friends like they were there to serve me. And I warped reality and couldn't even see it. And everything that they're doing to me, I did to my friends, and I regret that immensely, but I really don't think it was my fault, because I tried to fight this when I was a kid and could see that it was a bad thing, but they didn't believe me, and they hit it into me, and they made my life significantly worse for all of this. So if you want to talk about accountability, I think they have a lot more to answer for, especially considering there is no evidence for God. There is zero evidence that God is real, that God has ever affected Earth events. And there are plenty of signs, plenty of reasons to believe God is a human invention, a construct that was lazily created to answer some very complicated questions. It's a classic human thing of trying to reduce a situation down because it's too scary. It's too scary when you consider how big and complicated it is. We need things to be small so they can fit into our tiny little brains. But it's 2024 now. We have a lot more tools. We have a lot more ways of measuring the world and even storing information about the world so that it doesn't have to fit in any one of our brains, but we can still kind of see more of the truth. And I don't see any God. I see nothing of God here. I see a bunch of people doing really shitty things to each other and saying, who could know what's right and wrong? I don't know, but maybe if we just look at, like, human life, like, that's valuable, right? Because you don't act like it. My parents don't act like human life is valuable. They don't value anyone's experience but their own. And the only reason that they value their own is because they think that they're these divine soldiers that are, like, duty bound. They have to follow their God, whatever he wants them to do, even though it's super unclear all of the time at any cost, so that they get their reward and get to go to heaven and have all the nice things, even if, in the meantime on Earth, they're actually making things horrible and shitty for all of the people around them. Who cares about the real people, right? They're nothing compared to the fake reward. Like, it's stupid. It's just stupid. I think that if humanity needs to move forward, it is time to fucking grow up. And part of that is not believing in fairy tales. We can keep the fairy tales around. We can still learn from the stories. But let's admit they're fucking stories. God did not write the Bible. There was no divine inspiration. There were humans who were scared and made shit up to fit their needs. That's still mostly what religion is. That's why it's a bad thing and needs to go away. We can keep some of the good things. We can keep, like, the community stuff. We can keep some of the rituals even, as long as they're harmless. And as long as we understand that doing them is not magic, it just makes us feel better. We can still do all those things, but there's no God, there's no heaven, there's no hell. Let's focus on Earth and the problems that we fucking made here, because holy shit, they're gonna destroy us if we don't. But if this is anything like my childhood, everyone's going to deny me, pretend that I'm somehow the bad guy, that I've somehow caused the Earth to get to this state, humanity to get to this state, and I don't know, ridicule me until we all die, like I said. That's what I expect to happen based on what happened in my childhood, but, you know, hey, whoever said history repeats itself? Nobody, right? That never happens. So with that little tangent rant out of the way, I think I'm ready to jump into subject 2, anger. So this is after I had drafted my suicide note, but, you know, it's unclear kind of how strongly I was considering it, you know, throughout the journal. It was a period of like months, I guess. You know, it was a really bad time. I had a lot of bad habits that were keeping me down, and it's very difficult to break those cycles. Fortunately, I'd already kind of done some of the work, and that's like why I felt good enough to go to Granny's in the first place. You know, if I wasn't kind of prepared for things to go wrong again, I don't think I would have gone out there. Because that's just part of the truth of living, is that, you know, you don't know what's going to happen. And if I had accepted that sooner, I could have been a better person sooner, and whole life would have been different. But, you know, woulda, shoulda, woulda, coulda, what if, you know? It's a balance thing again, I guess, because I don't want to spend too much time on what ifs, but at the same time, I think there are some things to learn about, you know, hypotheticals and thought experiments, basically. We'll just see what I say here. I miss my friends. I'll always wonder what my life would have been like. Nobody can understand because, even when I tell them, they don't know how happy I was. They don't know my potential. They don't see that my quality of life since leaving there may as well be 0 compared to what I had before. I'm tired of disappointment. I'm tired of doors slamming in my face. We were supposed to take it out together, but he pushed me away. Hope he's happy. Hope they're all happy. I can't be. Life refuses. It's a cruel fucking joke. And that's still just the, you know, taking things very personally. It's an ego thing. You know, it's like seeing yourself as kind of the main character or as like deserving special treatment. But the thing is, because you're warping the truth, because your ego is so big that it's just a distorted view of reality, you don't even know that you're doing it. Like, people will tell you that you're doing it, and you'll be like, nah, that doesn't sound like me. And then you just do it straight to their face. And I really do think a lot of that comes from like a God complex, basically. And I think that a lot of that is the lingering ill effects of my parents' beliefs, which, again, I tried not to accept, but were beaten into me. I will say I don't like this writing. I don't like how I'm, you know, woe is me. It feels like a cruel joke, you know, taking things very personally. But that's how it felt at the time, because I had just, you know, mustered the courage and all of my energy to go try something again. And in like less than 3 months, it had just completely exploded, and I felt like I had no control, and, you know, felt like I was losing everything all over again, even though I had just started rebuilding. And that kind of thing is very upsetting. But, you know, it didn't kill me, so I'm still here. And I'm rebuilding again. And I think it's going well. You know, as well as it can, I guess. I want to drink, but I'm tired of hurting myself. It's either the booze or the reality, though, and reality tends to be more painful. What am I supposed to do now? I'm unanchored and scared, floating hopelessly through space, farther and farther from anything recognizable. My current friends will be sad, but I've told them everything. It's not my fault they can't understand. I still have to do what's best for me. And that was like, I don't know, because with the suicide posting, like, at that point, it was a cry for help. It's a big, you know, it's hard to, when you see your friends posting something like that, like, especially if they're just kind of casual online acquaintances, like, what do you do? Like, what is the right thing? I don't think my friends responded appropriately, but also it's a difficult situation that I put them in, and I don't want to blame them. I don't know. it's just hard. It feels like we have a society where we can't talk about anything. And that's been very frustrating because that's part of my parents' abuse, is denying the truth and, just shutting down whenever we try to have these really important discussions. People see what they want to see, hear what they want to hear. No one wants to believe this kind of pain is rational, is reasonable, that most people in my shoes would have given up already. Growing up, I am alarmed at how disconnected everyone is. Parents from their own kids. No one caring. No one sharing. What the fuck happened? Do you people not feel or think? Fucking planet of selfish imbeciles. Get me the hell out of here. Yes, it's how it feels sometimes. Like, you try to open up about, important things that are really close to you that, like, it's hard to even open up about in the first place because they make you feel vulnerable, and you bring that to somebody and it makes them uncomfortable, and they make you feel uncomfortable, and then you're like, oh, well, I guess I can't, like, talk to anybody about this. In my case, yeah, you end up paying for a therapist because your work tells you should, and though the therapist is nice, like, they're not magic. It was good having someone to talk to, but I think the point is that we're supposed to have more networks. We're supposed to be more connected as people, as, like, communities, as little tribes. Every time I try to make or reforge those connections, something horrible happens. So it's been difficult. It's been a really difficult life, and it's why I'm now pouring all this shit just onto the internet instead of to any of the people in my life, because the people in my life have basically said, we don't care, or we don't understand, or, we don't want to hear it anymore. But it is still a problem, and I'm gonna keep talking about it. Tired of being treated like I'm the goddamn problem. Blind, unthinking, pig shit world. I just wanted to do good and love people. Why can't we stay together? Why do I have to keep losing? Where the hell is my life? Help, I'm so scared, I don't know what to do. No one can help. Please let it end. Yeah, just tired of suffering. It seemed like that's all that my life was for. Like I said, I really did just want to try to do good and, like, help people ever since an early age. But, like, my parents convinced me that the way to do that was through Christianity, and the way that Christianity does that is so, like, blobby. Like, God is such an abusive monster. He's you can't, like, it's a terrible role model. And that was my role model. That, like, my God complex was, like, biblical God, like, real shitty, illogical monster God. I will say, there's nothing in here about, like, I wish I could destroy the world, or I wish I could, like, murder all the imbeciles. Like, no, it's nothing like that. Like, I recognize that the world just kind of happened. Like, it's all natural stuff too, even all the terrible things that humans do to each other. But, like, I don't want to be here if that's how people are going to treat each other, I could get better for my online friends. We're not connected. They're not reliable. I'm supposed to get better for myself, but I don't see how or why if I can't be with my loved ones. It's too late and getting later. Time fucking passes, never stops. My last shot. Uncle friend, please. I wish I could explain to him, and I wish I knew what was on his mind. Nobody wants me. Nobody has room for me. Mom doesn't count. She did this to me, and I would rather die than live under her roof again. Please don't make me prove it. One person did have room for me still. One person was still willing to let me stay with them. And I'm very, very, very grateful to my ex. And I don't know how things would have gone if he didn't let me stay here. I would have, probably renewed my apartment, a terrible one that I didn't like, and stayed there for another year. And I like to think I still would have tried to work through this in a similar to this manner. But I don't know that I would have been able to, and I don't know if I would have felt secure enough to quit my job so that I could really focus on this stuff. And what I'm getting at is that having this kind of freedom, removing these limits so that I can actually relax, be myself, and grow is what I've been missing. And, like in my last video, I interrupted it so that I could go out there and talk with them. And yesterday, we talked, and because it's the weekend now, and we were playing some games and, just having a good time. And these are the kind of social interactions that I've been missing. And being able to talk to people again in a way that, like, is just normal. It's been really good. So, at the time, I just wasn't, like, I didn't think that he would, I guess, or I didn't, yeah, it's a weird thing because, my ex is kind of at a disadvantage, because as wonderful as he was in the third, like, friend group I was making as a child and, like, or as a teenager by that point. And by that point, I was very tired and I just wanted to go back to any of my previous lives and, like, stop having everything shuffled around. I don't think we bonded as much as we could have if we had met sooner, basically. Or maybe if my past hadn't been as troublesome. But I don't know. That's the kind of what ifs that's, like, so hard to say that it's almost not worth thinking too much about. Suffice to say, I'm grateful for him. I love him very much. All of, and in quotes, my reasons to live come back to being surrounded by good friends. Too bad none of them like me. And yeah, by this point, that's because it's been 20 years of me being an asshole. I don't feel like I fucked up this bad. And it's like, well, I did. But the reason I did is because my parents fucked up worse. What is happening? Just bad timing? Why is God such a cunt? I'm sorry, it's just all caps print. Like, it was cursive up to that one word, and then it just went all caps. It seriously feels targeted. Why do I deserve this? Why won't it ever stop? Why did you send me to hell? I thought you loved me. It's unclear whether I'm talking to God or my parents there. The fact that I'm still addressing God so much in this journal surprises me, even though I was just writing this, like, this year. I don't know if I'm doing it, like, metaphorically or if I'm doing it, like, I think that's what's happening is I'm, why did you send me to hell? These are basically things that I was considering at the time, my whole life, all that. Why did you send me to hell? And, like, as someone who doesn't believe in biblical hell, it feels like my parents sent me to an earthly hell just because they didn't believe me or just because they, like, felt like it. I don't know how to get out. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say I'm in a hell anymore, but, like, I still got to deal with a lot of the fucking bullshit that they left me with. The facts don't change each other. Incompatible reality. What do I do? What can I do besides opt out? Staying has been a mistake every time. Trying has been a mistake every time. And so I'm kind of referencing here not killing myself as a child, because I have had, thoughts about ending my life, ending suffering ever since I was young, especially after the move. And that's what I'm saying here was a mistake, is that I should have killed myself after the move, because things didn't get better and I, didn't think that they would. But at the time I was still thinking like my parents, which is very limiting. God doesn't give you any other way out. There's only one way out with God, and it's a shitty way out. Because it's his way, and his way is nonsense. Which is why it's only as I'm moving away from writing to God or writing about God as if he's real that I start to make sense again. Start to sound like, existence is not targeting me. Trying itself is not the mistake. There's a lot of other factors getting in the way. At what point do we say, oh yeah, maybe that tortured life should just end? When? Because I feel like we passed that line 20 years ago. No one gets it. I can leave all the notes and videos I want. They don't want to see the truth. Cowards. Selfish. Let me die then. I was still pinning my, like, happiness, I guess, on my parents. Because, like, I didn't want to confront them. I didn't want to believe that, they fucked me up that badly, that their choices were that directly responsible for the worst things in my life. But they were. And they're still denying it, which is really fucking frustrating. I told them at the time that it was that bad, and they beat me until they made me sing a different tune. It's just fucked up. Like, it's so fucked up what they did to me. And it's so fucked up that they're still denying it, and it's really fucked up that people are, like, taking their side at all. It is abuse. Please don't be pro-abuse. Why would you? I can't see how I'm going to live. I can't see me going back to work or programming seriously ever again. I can't see how I'll spend my time. Video games, my website, what's the point? No one cares. I can't think past this roadblock. I don't see the point. My life has been over for 20 years. Let's let it die. They'll pretend they care, pretend it's a tragedy and not a murder. Thanks, everyone. Sometimes I'm glad I don't belong here. Fuck all of you. And that's just kind of, if this is what people are like, I don't want to be here. But, I was also like a mirror for their shittiness. So for a while, I was just as shitty. And honestly, my theory is that they're as shitty as they are because their parents might have been a lot worse to them than they were to me. But they're not going to call it abuse. They're going to be like, well, times were different. Well, let's just, how some people want to raise their kids. And it's like, I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right to use lies and violence to raise human beings. I think we can do better in current year. But hey, I stuck around and I'm still here. Don't see why I should opt out at this point, because all that does is remove options. No shit, I'm sad, scared, and angry. These feelings are going nowhere, and that makes them grow. It feeds itself. I had a couple of opportunities to escape it, but failed, couldn't see what to do, no way of knowing, tired of it. It won't stop until my life changes, and I cannot change it. It's out of my hand. Don't act like this is my fault. And that's kind of what I talked about at the start of this video, is the accountability thing. It's complicated. At this particular time, I was tired of taking the blame, because that's kind of what I've been doing my whole life. After the move, my parents made me feel like I was wrong for being that sad about it. Like I should just get better and move on. And I tried. And I tried and I tried and it never worked. And I always, was willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. I guess they're right. And I just haven't been able to make it work without my friends or, in these other places. But they were wrong. They shouldn't have taken me from my home. They shouldn't have taken me from my friends. They should have listened to me. They should have talked to me instead of just shutting me up. They never should have hit me like they did. They shouldn't have brainwashed me. That took a long time to undo. I'm really upset about that one. Got to strategize, though. Even though I'm constantly crying for help, I can't be too obvious about my intentions or someone will try to stop me. Somehow I have to fool my boss, therapist, and ex that I'll be all right on my own for a bit. Shouldn't be too hard to slip under the radar. No one really wants to deal with it. The middle child is only ever ignored or in the way, and it's time to go back to ignored so no one will miss me when I die. I'm scared. I don't know why this is happening. And that's pretty much how it's felt my whole life. They act like I'm not fucking there, and then when I try to speak up for myself, my experience, what I'm going through, they act like I'm causing problems instead of expressing problems to them, and they punish me for it. And I don't know if you can imagine growing up with that as your main discipline, your main lesson being taught to you over and over. Don't speak up for yourself or you'll get hit. That's what they taught me. It wasn't good. It's not good to grow up that way. No one should have to live that way. I think that is abuse. And I do still think it would be super easy to just say, whatever. Say anything to people. They'll hear what they want to hear. They will not want to believe that you're going to kill yourself, even if you really mean it, even if you're thinking pretty fucking hard about it. I miss being happy. I miss knowing what to do. I miss my friends. I won't miss this life. Good fucking riddance. And it's true. I do not miss the way that I was living, even up through the point that I wrote this notebook, even up through 2 months ago, last month, I don't fucking know. Even up to yesterday, let's be real. But no, I think that I've made great improvements, and what I'm talking about there, knowing what to do, I can't say this enough. My childhood friends were very smart. We were all very smart kids. We were on to the truth at that young age, and we were keeping each other in check. And they took me from that, and suddenly I had no checks, and suddenly I was disconnected from the truth, and I went flying away. And that's why I became a shitty person, and that's why I no longer knew what to do. It's taken a very long time to get back to just the truth, but now that I can see, facts again, instead of a confusing world of, oh, is that out to get me? Is that out to hurt, punish me? Like, no, stuff is just here. And now I can see that, the stuff that was in my life wasn't really my fault. I tried to do the right thing. I tried to protect myself, and my parents just weren't having it. So, I couldn't do anything else. I tried. I'm proud of myself for being here. It was fucking hard. I've had to stand up to abuse my whole life. I've had to argue my fucking reason to exist my whole life. I'm here. I'm a fucking person. Hello. I'm alive. Still living, still feeling, still thinking. Just want to remind you, because you often forget, Mom and Dad. You often forget your children are alive. You birthed lives. Not fucking toys, not fucking dolls, not fucking pets for you to control. I have to let it out more carefully, secretly, privately, conceal the true pain. I thought I was done with a life of lies. I don't like deceiving people. I just have to keep it low and only vent in private. Suppress those depressive spirals, maybe spin them into something else. Work is the hard part. I guess I'll just take more LOA and tell my boss I just need more time. Oh, work is the hard part, like my job. So at this point, I still had my job, and I was saying, I guess I'll take more leave of absence. And to my boss's credit, as much as, I have mixed feelings about the company and the way that they do things, they were very understanding and, basically let me take as much time as I needed. And when I told them, hey, I can't do this job anymore, I'm going to be, heading off for a bit, they were very understanding. They said, all right, we'll pay you through, next week or whatever. All the good things of, pleasant working with you, all these things, wish you the best. And off-boarding process, I guess, was very smooth. All that, well done. Which was good. If they had put more stress on me during this particular time, I don't know that I would have handled it very well. And then at the bottom I wrote, God, this fucking sucks. I hope Uncle Friend gets back to me before it's too late. Probably, right? Probably. Just need a backup plan. Can't tell anyone, underlined. Because at that point, my backup plan was basically killing myself. And that is technically a backup plan. That's kind of, I don't want to pretend that it's not an option, because it's down there. It's an option. But hopefully there's a bunch of better options before that one, I think that becomes easier to see when you understand why you might even get to that suicidal point of what are you living for? Because whatever you've tied your survival to, that's what's going to make you feel, fulfilled or not, or lifelong satisfied or not. And, my satisfaction as a child was tied to my friends, not through any artificial reason, just because they were the best thing in my life. And then they took me from my friends, and I became fixated on, just trying to get back to them. I didn't know how to do anything else. I didn't know how to live without them. I tried to make connections with new people, different friends, and it just wasn't the same. And I didn't have enough time. We fucking moved again. And it just feels like I never really got the chance to recover after that really devastating early blow. And my parents just made it worse and worse and never fucking listened. In the meantime, I'm trying to take care of the red flags. No hurting myself. Much less drinking, no punching, no slamming. Just like childhood. Repress. Suffer the insufferable. Live the hell you're in today. Just in case someday, somehow, by some absolute long shot miracle, you get out. And if not, well, haha, oops. Maximum suffering achieved. That's, I guess, the worst case scenario is if, you either do or don't kill yourself when you could or couldn't to have less suffering. Then the problem is there's no way to measure that. As much as I talk about our tools and measurements, we still can't really measure human suffering in a way, or compare our timelines with alternate versions to see which one is better. Nothing like that yet. We can think about it and make guesses, but we can't ever, check those. Those are just assumptions, and we shouldn't treat those assumptions like facts. Everything's temporary, but do I want to put up with it for 60 years or one? I texted friend, Uncle Friend still needs time. Not my family after all. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Hide it. And so at this point, like, I didn't know how to process pain like I'm doing today. I only knew how to, like, repress it and stuff it down and pretend that it's not there while it destroys me from the inside, because that's how my parents forced me to live under them. They didn't give me another option. And they ignored all their red flags, all the red flags I tried to show them. Is there any way I can go back to work? I don't see how. I have to really, truly embrace the suffering. I can't bear it. It's too much. I want out. I'm done waiting. I'm done holding out hope. I tried my stupid, shitty heart out. All I got for my trouble is another big bloody hole in my chest. What to do, what to do. I want to escape who I am, but it's intrusive in everything I do. Nothing can hide me from the truth or vice versa. I don't know what to do. Nobody understands. Could call my older brother. Probably just heard him. Like, I wasn't even sure. I don't even know what I would have said if I had called him at this stage. Probably would have tried to explain everything. If he reacted then anything like he's reacted recently, he would have, dismissed what I was saying, belittled me, denied everything, and just stopped talking to me, left me on my own to deal with my own trauma, which is kind of what I expected. So I'll keep going. And that might be why I didn't call him. I don't know. You want to believe your pain is unique? It is. And I wrote that. I wrote, it is, ... As like, it is. People try to fucking tell me like, oh yeah, people move all the time. And I'm like, okay. But that's not necessarily good. And in my case, it was terrible. Like, it's not a normal thing that happened to me, okay? I understand that it's similar to normal things that happen to people who are okay with it and don't, suffer this trauma. But for me, it was trauma for a great many reasons, one of which is that I was being abused and my friends were my only solace. And having that taken from me was very bad for me. So this is kind of like a conversation with myself, like it's written as like a left-right thing. So maybe I'll just mirror the frame so that you can tell when I'm switching perspectives, even though it doesn't really matter which one is which. So let me start this whole conversation over. You want to believe your pain is unique? It is. It's called depression. Many people have it. Medicine and treatments are available. What is the point in going on without those connections? Help people, even though you're empty. I'm dangerous. It went too far. They might even keep me against my will. To help you. To waste their time and mine and make it even harder to escape. No thank you. So selfish. And weak. Too weak to fight this anymore. Stop trying by yourself. Do you want to die from spite? Kind of. I lost too much, and now it's too late, and I'm very upset at fucking everybody, because nobody can do jack shit. They're all trying. You haven't tried their advice. They don't understand. I know what I've been through and what's at stake. I don't get how it's hard to understand. I feel so alien. What have you got to lose? My freedom to die, my only remaining choice. Spend your time better. Why waste what you have left? Because it hurts to be here to try. Every failure reminds me of every failure, and my whole life is a failure, and I'm failing, and I try to go above and beyond to turn over every stone to get a foothold anywhere, and all I've met with is pushback, resistance, rejection. It hurts. It hurts. And I'm supposed to stuff it down and pretend it doesn't. I tried letting it out and everybody got upset. Bad timing, I guess. Bad life. Fuck. I don't want to keep doing this. Fuck. I don't want to die, but the pain must stop. It never will. I'm scared. What's the use? Why try? Why anything? Scared, so scared. I don't know what to do. I wish I wasn't me. I wish I didn't have a failure life, a loser's life. I miss being happy. I really do. This agony is too much. Repressing is hard. There was an end in sight. God damn it. I just want an end. There's no cure. I am unfixable. I don't want it to spread. I'm scared. Should have nipped it in the bud. Maybe next time. In the meantime, even if it is just for a few months, disassociate from my own life. Become stone. Unfeeling. Be patient. I know, biding your time is torture, but bide your time. They'll take even more from you if you give it to them. Stone, unfeeling, just fine. Robot, no sad, nothing, nothing. And so that's I'm making the conscious decision to disassociate a bit from my life, to just pretend it's not mine, basically, because at the time I couldn't see any other way of coping with it. And, I gave myself the advice, I know biding your time is torture, but bide your time, disassociate, think about it for a few months. I'm basically telling myself don't make any rash decisions. Trying to see a way back to kind of where I am today and wherever it is I'm going next. I'm not sure how to get myself ready to return to work. I can't imagine my future. It's just blank, empty. Not in an exciting, full of possibilities way, but in an, oh God, there is nothing, no paths to take, no goal, no point. Just all the pain I want as long as I can bear it. Doesn't feel like it's going to be long. That's what scares me. But it is the only ending I can see. If there are others, they are farther, more painful to get to. And by now, I know not to trust the mirages or the horizon. Fooled me twice. And fooled me twice. I think I'm talking about the friends I had growing up, and then the situation at Granny's. It's either that, or I'm talking about the house that I got and the situation at Granny's. But I'm pretty sure it's the friends, because the house thing I see is more my fault. Like I say, with all the accountability, like I was a shitty person because my parents beat it into me. But I still was that shitty person. I still see the house thing as my fault. I still think, there may have been, there were choices I could have made that would have made that whole thing go better. It's just that I wasn't in a position to make those choices. And, I do regret that. And so I don't really see my house as like, oh, my friends tricked me. Like, no, we all had different expectations going in and we were all wrong. Conversely, the people who were supposed to take care of me completely failed in their job. And then the situation at Granny's felt similar to that because I was putting my uncle friend in that same like parental position almost. And that's just not fair to them. I'm not their child. I'm not actually part of their family. They're not responsible for me in like any way. Unlike my real parents who were supposed to be responsible for me and just chose to fuck it up and choose to pretend like they didn't really do that much wrong. And, I'm still on my own. So thanks, Mom and Dad. Appreciate it. Like a hole in the goddamn head. I don't want to run out of money. Still true. I don't want to work. Also true. I don't want to live alone. Very true. And so far I'm 3 for 3 on those. Like I'm doing great right at this particular moment. The issue is money is decreasing and not increasing. So at a certain point I will have to get work. Part of this whole process is trying to clear all the roadblocks in my mind, all the hangups, all the big emotional things so that I just know what I'm doing in my life. And I think that will help me get a job. I think that'll help me like relax enough to feel out what I want to do and, be ready to make that kind of commitment of like, okay, well, if this is the work that I'm going to have to do at this time, like, I'm getting paid this much, then it'll be worth it, and weigh out all those decisions again. I don't want to work for a big corporation again. I don't know what I'll end up doing. Haven't started looking yet. Still got enough money for now. Oh yeah, that I couldn't imagine my future. I still can't, but it's getting less like the, there is no path forward and more like, I'm not sure what's going to happen. Like, that's all. And yeah, there are scary possibilities, but they are just possibilities for now. And I think it's okay to spend a little bit more time working on myself this way. And, basically as long as I feel like this is valuable, I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm interested as I'm going through here because I keep finding stuff about like, how suicidal I am and how suicidal I was and how much, my beliefs in God and the things that I'm saying about God like shift over time. Cause like it was a pretty drastic shift over a pretty short time and I'm still shifting. I'm still dealing with this change. I need to focus to work and I cannot do that right now. My everything is occupied with my current problem. I don't even see the point. Why bother? Why pretend? Why delay? It's just going to hurt more. When will I learn? Why has nothing changed in 20 years? Why is everyone still so shitty? I don't deserve this, you bastard God. And then I wrote in print next to that, impotent rage at the funny cloud man with an angry face. And, partly the funny cloud man, sky guy, invisible guy, things I call them like that. Like, they're just made to, like, belittle, dismiss. Because I don't believe in him. I don't believe that there's a God up there, and I hope that if there is, he's not that fucking sensitive that we can't call him goofy names. I don't deserve this. Shit just happens. How fucked up is that? No redemptions, no salvation, no cure, no hope. It's out of my hands. What can I do? 2 + 2 = 5. I need to do math to do work. Basic reasoning, logic, communication, a lot of memory, too much for me to handle. Oh God, I'm so scared. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to rot away alone. What can I do? What can I do? End it sooner. Trade in my last hope in exchange for some fucking mercy. What else can I do? Hold on to my last hope, torture myself indefinitely on a maybe. It has worked for me so far, but the pain is unbearable. Ugh. I had this lucrative job and I was working it and, meeting expectations. In fact, in all of my performance reviews, I think it was meets expectations. Well, basically, it was always right in the middle. It was never like, oh, he's doing exceptional or, oh, he's doing poorly. It was always just straight down the middle, good enough, could be better. And I was kind of frustrated with that because, like, as a kid, I felt that I was exceptional, and I don't I don't want to just say that lightly. Like, I had smart friends. I was part of the gifted and talented program, and we were writing essays and we were doing math problems that our other peers couldn't possibly understand. And, all of those basic, like, logic and communication skills are fundamental. Like, those are important and so valuable because they are so low level and everything else is built on top of them is built using them. And it's so easy to miscommunicate, and it's so easy to get something wrong in your chain of logic that throws off the whole thing. In the 20 years of living as a Christian person, all of my good skills had rotted away just through lack of use. And, it's not entirely the faith's fault. It's a lot of it had to do with the move. I was moved away from my smart friends and my smart schools and put into stupid towns where I didn't have to think at all. And at that time, like, why would I bite off extra work for myself if I didn't have to, and if there were no friends there to push me to, and all I wanted to do was get back to my friends? But I couldn't. And when I tried to tell my parents about it, all they would do is tell me to shut up. It was a bad time. It sucked. I rotted as a person. I started to, like, just decay and wither. I retreated inward, and my parents just pushed me there. Like, they didn't even try to draw me out. They didn't try to help me get better. They just pushed me down and put me away. And I don't know. That's really fucked up. They shouldn't be remotely okay with what they fucking did, like, at any stage of my life. At the top of this page, I wrote repress. Gotta stuff it all so far away that even I can barely see it. Can't have the ugly monster poking out and scaring everybody away. Pretend there is no terrible sadness. Do not discuss your family or where you grew up. You went to school at that university and have been an online worker ever since. You are passionate about efficient solutions. You spend your time processing your work until it is done, or you have to wait on someone/thing else. You gather data and ask questions. Do more research. Learn more. Be a developer and not a person. And next to that, I drew a little sad face. No sad. Then I drew a little angry face. No mad either. And I'm almost trying to, like, dehumanize myself to be a robot, to be just a neutral entity so that I don't have to feel pain. And I don't think that's healthy. Like I wrote at the top, that's repressing it, that's stuffing it down, that's bad. At this time, I couldn't see anything else to do. But now, as you can see, I am not repressing. I am digging it up. I am expressing. We're getting it out, not stuffing it down. And I've drawn a very large neutral face and written perfect. And then right after that I wrote, would it kill you to smile once in a while? And then I wrote a very, very angry face. Just trying to have a little goof even during these very trying times. Because, like, what else am I going to do? How am I supposed to see my life? Like, what am I going to be like even if everything else changes? Well, I hope I'm still goofy. That might be all I got. I don't know. When I was talking about, basically trying to forget my own history and to never bring it up with anyone or talk about it with anyone. When someone asks too close, tell them about the fences. They are not allowed past the fences. No family, no off time, no history, no plans, location, nothing. Please keep it impersonal. And then under that I wrote, fuck. Because, like, that just sounds miserable. Like, you know, I lived that way. In fact, I could tell you it is miserable. That's how I got through much of school. It's just bottling it all up and pretending that I wasn't even there and just, you know, doing the work, trying to get good grades, trying to set up a good future for myself, even though I had no reason to care about my own life and couldn't talk to anybody. That's what my parents taught me, and so it was difficult to not do that again at this stage in my life. This is why abuse matters. This is why how you treat children matters, because you teach them things that they carry their whole lives, for better or for worse. And in your case, in my parents' case, they fucked me up for worse. Much, much, much worse. I hate having to adopt all these old bad habits again. It feels so wrong. I wanted to be done with them. I was ready to come clean and live honestly, and now it's back to lie city. Don't be a person. Hide the pain. Hide how much you love everyone because you are not stable enough to be good to them. Stay distant for their sakes. Over here I've written in some very small print, which is a little bit strange. It's all lowercase. No one wants me around anyway. Not really. Some say they do, until I prove them wrong. It's always only a matter of time. Keep my distance. They'll probably like me more. But as long as they don't depend on me, as long as I know they're okay, even if I slip away. I probably shouldn't bother them at all, but I don't want to be so alone. Selfish, I guess. I'm too scared to take myself out right now, so I need some long-term coping habits. Just gotta be careful not to get too close or too honest. You know, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to talk to. Like, it's a very complicated, one-of-a-kind problem, and I didn't know. It's gonna sound worse than it is. Wait for the second line. I threw up blood today. I assume it was just from my throat. Nonetheless, it's a clear physical indicator to stop drinking. I'm trying to remember the last time that I threw up blood, just for, you know, health check here. Months? Like, it's been months. And the last time I threw up at all, probably just weeks. But it's very different now. Like I talked about in the last video, it's something that I'm not beating myself up too much about now. But I have made progress. Like, I'm not drinking abusively anymore. That's the main change that I wanted to make. And I have. Like, all I've got here is beers. I had a bottle of wine the other day that I had picked up at the dollar store. And that was a lot. Like, I did drink the whole bottle. And, you know, it wasn't like a huge bottle or anything. It didn't make me sick, but it did make me, like, the next day, you know, I could still feel it kind of thing, like hungover a little bit. But no, basically been trying to do it better and make myself sick less. Haven't had rumplements or tequila in a long time, which helps, because those ones tend to be very hard. And the point that I'm talking about in this journal, like throwing up blood, I was drinking a lot, and I typically wasn't always eating when I would. And so, like, it's, you know, alcohol and all these things destroying my throat on the way down, and then if I do throw up, it's like stomach acid and alcohol coming up and burning it all the way through again. And I think that did just, you know, I think whenever I would throw up blood, which did not happen often, that it was probably just from my throat, not from like my stomach or anything, not like my internal organs bleeding. But it is a bad sign that, you know, you shouldn't be coughing up blood. It's alarming. It's alarming to see that when you spit up into, you know, wherever you're throwing up or spitting, and, you know, see that like floating around. It's it doesn't feel good. It's you know, you kind of realize you've gone too far, and you're just so there that you're like, well, is it already too late, kind of thing. But I don't think it is. I think I'm okay physically for now. I want to go back to work too, try to stick around for whoever needs me. So that means it's time to stop drinking. It's time to break some bad habits. And, like, you know, I'm still attacking the wrong thing at this point. Like, don't get me wrong, less drinking is always a good, like, goal to aspire to. But I treated it like it was the one thing that would fix my life, and that's not true. And that's how people talk to me too. Like whenever I try to tell them about this stuff, and they're like, "Oh, but you were an alcoholic," and I'm like, "No, like maybe, like I don't know. That's not the point. That's like a thing on top of all this other bullshit. Like this other bullshit is the real problem." 1. Reason it happens. 2. Reason to stop. 3. How to achieve. Alcohol abuse. Doing physical and mental, etc. damage. Can't ignore it anymore. Must get it under control and give body time to heal. Maybe I'll have a drink on my birthday. To counter, behold thine picture of bloody vomit. I took a picture. I might still have the picture. I'm not sure. I don't want to post it on here or anything like that. But it was, it was a toilet bowl full of vomit. And from what I remember, it was mostly chunky food and, that kind of stuff. And just like a little like drizzle of red. It wasn't much at all. But it was disgusting. And, when I was throwing it up, it was horribly unpleasant. And so I figured that if I would take a picture and look at the picture, maybe I could remember that unpleasantness next time I thought about drinking, and that would maybe help me not drink. It didn't really. And I think the reason why is that it's negative reinforcement. Like I was still trying to punish myself for making the choice to drink instead of addressing why I was making the choice to drink. So alcohol. Started for fun, then to cope, hide, ease, comfort. Stopping to avoid further damage to self. How? Focus on how great it is not being hungover. And that's a pretty good one. Like, I talk about negative reinforcement of like the punishment for drinking, and you can kind of think of a hangover as a punishment for drinking. But like it's a natural punishment, like it's not really a punishment, it's just a consequence of your body's processing all that alcohol. And if you want to look at it in a positive reinforcement way, if you don't drink, you don't have to deal with those consequences. Like it is that simple in this case. Like they are very cut and dry. You are what you eat kind of thing. You reap what you sow. My friend's here, so I'm probably gonna finish up this page and go talk to him. Let's see. Process your feelings instead of hiding from them. When cravings get strong, remember they are temporary. Look at your bloody vomit. And yes, that's one that does help. Remembering that the cravings are temporary. That's a big one that, if you can just say no to the craving for a bit, it will subside. It will go away. It might be back later, but, that's a different question. Like you said no this time, and that's better. That's better than it was. So for anger, 1, cry for help, seeking sympathy or assistance. 2, I'm an adult. I can ask for help if needed in a mature, gentle way. 3, how? Be more prepared to lose. It is inevitable. More than you can even imagine. Nothing is yours. Be grateful for the opportunity. Remember that life is about having experiences, not achieving them. I think I wrote, I get mad at relatable things I reckon anyone would get mad at if they understood, like video games. I'm not entirely sure what I meant there. I think it's something like that my anger is justified because of the cause and effect of like the actual situation that's happening. Video games was a weird example without elaboration. My best guess is that like if they were playing the game, they would understand the frustration, whereas if they're just watching it or hearing you describe it, they might not. But I'm not really sure. I think I'll go through one more page just because this follows the same format of the 1, 2, 3, but it follows social anxiety. Well, anxiety in general, social in parentheses. So 1, cower from fear of the unknown. Other people are powerful. Interactions with them can lead anywhere. I'm always scared of a small, easy misstep causing years of misery and torment, like the move. But being scared didn't stop it, did it? No. Stopping because I have shit to do. I have to be capable of driving in traffic, of waiting in lines, of printing and filing and submitting and resubmitting. Maybe I should have a PA. Discuss with boss. And so that's me, like I've had anxiety and social anxiety my whole life. I haven't, for a long time, I didn't like being in public spaces at all. And like I would, my heart rate would elevate if I was standing like alone in a line somewhere and just like people all around me and like it wasn't moving fast enough for me, and I would just feel super awkward being there. And like I wouldn't know, what to look at, what to think about, how to be, and I would worry that people were all looking at me and they could tell that I like didn't belong there and I was super, that I that I didn't fit, that I wasn't normal. Basically, I felt like everyone could tell that, and I don't really get that as much anymore. I'm more comfortable with who I am and what I've been through, and I don't think that I have anything to hide. I'm exposing myself, in a very personal way here in these videos. And if I happen to run into anyone who's like, hey, what's your deal? I can be like, well, I've got some hours of content to catch you up if you're really interested, but I doubt you care that much. It's on them at that point. Like I'm just getting my truth, my history, my story out there. And it's helping. It's helping me, like, it's getting it out of my mind. It's clearing my mind for whatever's going to come next. I really enjoy this process. Short of some very extreme circumstances, stakes are pretty low when you go out. There are laws and systems in place to protect you, in theory. Anyway, most people don't mean you harm. It's just a matter of relating to them and working together. You don't have to marry them. You don't have to solve all their problems. And that's part of the thing, is like, being aware of how quickly relationships can develop and how quickly things can change off of small events and choices. It makes it, kind of high stakes anytime you interact with another human being. You never know where it's going to take you. It could change your life. And for that reason, I acted like I always had to do exactly the right thing whenever I met somebody. But there's no way of knowing what that is. You can only make the best choices that you can using the information that you have. And if you trust that you are doing the right thing, then you can look and see how things unfold and adjust accordingly until, you're being more of the person that you want to be. And that's where I'm at. It's trying to improve. But I'm going to go talk to my friend, and we'll get back into this later. Friend didn't actually stay out here. He just went back inside. So instead of talking to him, I'm going to keep going. Throughout everything, there is a powerful fear of failure and a desire to win. But life isn't about winning. It's about playing the best game you can. I have the most fun when I'm cooperating with the other players. It's just difficult. I have strange pride, big ego, low self-esteem, sometimes high self-esteem, so self-conscious, always wondering how I'm coming across, how I can look cooler or be better. Yeah, if you couldn't tell by now, I'm less obsessed with looking cool now. I don't mind crying into camera if that's, gonna express what I'm feeling. I don't think it's very cool, but it's honest. I like to think honesty is cool, but I also acknowledge that I sound like a dork, even when I'm honest. So, there's more to it than that. Silly little man, a tiny speck in space, floating with the stars. Silly little man. And then I drew a little tiny, tiny stick figure, and next to that, I wrote me, a speck. And that comforts me, honestly. Like, zooming out to such a degree, seeing the big picture to such a degree that I'm like insignificant in it, like you can't even see me at all, like that. It takes away all that pressure that I was putting on those social interactions of like, well, it doesn't really matter that much. Like, it does, because these are human beings that I'm interacting with. These are living people. But like, it's just the people around me. It's just the people in the case of the internet who are choosing to expose themselves to my content or, And so like, even if I do things wrong, like I'm just going to be another human doing things wrong in a big world of humans doing things wrong. I am at least trying to do the right thing and thinking very hard about it and like, doing everything that I think I can. I don't know. I want to be a good person. I want to help people. I have a long way to go. I need help myself. I sure miss my friends. One day at a time. Let's see about getting back to work. Maybe more showers and fewer deliveries. Work, work, work. Try to enjoy the struggle. Bit of a contradiction. Enjoying the struggle. As far as more showers, I still don't shower as much as most people. Even if I was living on my own and didn't have the excuse of, well, our bathroom's always full, like, I don't think I would shower much more than like a couple times a week. But it depends, because like sometimes I go riding my bike and sometimes I get really gross. And like today is, I showered yesterday, so I'm pretty clean. But today's very muggy. Like, my windows are all fogged up just sitting in the garage, and I might be gross by tonight and need another shower tomorrow, tonight, who knows. It's like everything else. I'm not treating it like a punishment thing. I acknowledge that the choices I make are maybe not ideal in terms of I could shower more, but so it's low on the priorities. It's not because also more showers means more laundry and more wear and tear on my clothes and more everything, more consuming resources. And if I don't have to, and if it's not really gonna have that much negative impact, at what point is it worth it? That's when I'll shower. It is March 6th, 2024. I hope Uncle Friend is okay. I've upset Mom a lot. Not sorry yet. Maybe someday, maybe not. I do love her. I need to focus on getting better. It's hard when I'm so uninvested in my life. Maybe I'm always trying to put the cart before the horse. Too busy metagaming to live my own life. It was going to change. It was changing. So frustrating. Gotta focus on myself for now. Very hard. Very painful. Wish things were different. Don't dwell. Mustn't dwell. There's a difference between dwelling and processing. It is March 6th, 2024. I am 32 years old. I hate how much time has passed. How far I am from it all. How confused the timeline is in my head. I hate how my life is gone. I'm aware of this hate and trying to move forward even though it wants me to fall over and cry some more. It'll suck me dry if I let it. I am scared. I am trying. I love you. And I sign my name. More arguing with Mom over email. She tried to call a few times. I don't feel like talking. Don't want to explode again. Not ready for that kind of test. Still can't handle Fortune Street. Can't be around anybody. Yeah, so as far as the video games and frustration things, I was playing through some Fortune Street on PS2. I was playing the a Japanese version that had only come out on PS2 because that was just easiest for me to emulate on my laptop at the time. I love the Fortune Street series. Very great series of games. Even the one on Wii, though it is slow, it's still got the solid gameplay. It's like Monopoly, except with more agency. But not too much agency. It's still a lot of RNG. And it's fun. If you like stocks and investment portfolios, whoo boy. Dividends. But yeah, so basically I was playing Fortune Street, and that alone was still making me very angry, and I could still tell that I wasn't, stable. The issue is Mom was making shit worse. This whole time she was making shit worse. And, you can't, make that clear to her. She doesn't believe you. She thinks she's the mom, and she thinks she knows best, and she thinks she has the power to just make things better because she wants to. And so she'll call you when you tell her not to call, and she'll email you when you tell her not to email. And, she's a complete hypocrite, because then once the conversation turns the other way around, she just bails out and stops talking and says, I have to block you now. I'll pretend I love you, but I can no longer bear to even hear you complain. Thanks, Mom. What are you saying? It's my fault? The block. Oh, geez, can't hear you anymore. Oops, weird how that happened just then. Oh, well, I'll never know what you were going to say, I guess. Yeah, I guess not. Help is what people tell you to get when they don't want to help you. That's pretty much what I experienced, going to all the people who were supposed to be close to me in my life, who were supposed to care, who were supposed to know, either what to say or, how to even start talking to me or down the path to getting better. And, all of them were just don't bring this here. Put it anywhere else. It's not for me. And I was like, okay, well, it's not for anybody. What do I do with it? People struggle to listen. Why should they care? And even those who do can't get close enough. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be the unfeeling robot again. I am sad and scared. Don't make me put the suit back on. And I'm talking about my slimy human suit. It's the suit that I put on after the move to pretend that I was a normal, functional person, when in reality I was a traumatized child, developmentally stunted and withering away. But with the human suit on, I could pretend, I was normal. I could smile, I could do schoolwork, I could wasn't really a very convincing disguise, I don't think, but, you know, people just didn't want to see. When it came time to confront this prospect of putting the suit back on, I couldn't. And that's kind of led me here. I just knew that it was wrong. It was wrong the first time. I did it out of necessity. I don't need to do it this time. It's not going to help this time. It's definitely going to make things worse. I'm going to skip it. No human suit. I mean, what does it even mean, right? Like, how do you be honest? Is everything, every, like, spoken sentence a performance? Is it a line delivered? Or, you know, how do you differentiate that from expressing thoughts? And, you know, is it just a matter of how long you think about it before you say it, as to whether it's pre-scripted or improvised? Like, what are the rules? I miss when things were better. From so good to so horribly, miserably bad. It hurts. What am I doing? What is the point? How can I function? I am still broken, have been for years. Help me. Sad face. It's not supposed to be like this. My own family and friends can't ever go home again. Don't have one. Lost it when I was young. Fucked me for my whole life. And it's a metaphorical fucking, to be very clear. In terms of sexual abuse, I was never, like, molested or penetrated or anything like that. They did mutilate my penis, which I think kind of counts. And I say mutilated, like, I don't think it was their hands. I think, you know, it was the doctor not castrated. Sorry, that would have been worse. It's the doctor circumcised me. But, like, you know, that cost the feeling in the head of my penis. So it has affected me. Like, I'm always going to wonder, what the fuck am I missing out on? It seems like a pretty important thing, judging by the way other people react. But, you know, I can only imagine. I don't know. And then this page, it's written pretty big words. Of course I'm angry, you stupid bitch. You fucking killed me. And then it's all, you know, scribbly, scrabbly, underlined. And that's for Mom. And it's pretty much true. That's like, I use metaphors a lot. Killed me, took my life is kind of how I think of it. Like, ruined my life. Like, took away this awesome thing that I could have had with my friends and gave me this shitty thing that made me a shitty person who scares away the people that he loves. And that's, you know, not what I wanted to be. And it's their fault for making me like that. I tried to resist it. This one's kind of hard to read. I think it says, fuck. It was only my whole life. And, like, it really feels like they just don't value me at all. I don't know how many times I can fucking tell them that it was my life. They don't care. I guess they know it was my life. They just don't care about my life. They don't think my life has value. So, you know, thanks, parents. You gave me this stupid, shitty life, and you removed the value from it. Fuck you. So at this next point in the video, I was really caught off guard by how much emotion I still had, and I scream it out, and I go into a whole little thing. So I just wanted to warn you up ahead of time before just letting that play. So brace yourselves. Here I go. Do you understand you fucking abused me? Can you ever understand? How do you watch this? How do you leave comments like, oh, I'll go reset all I can? No, you haven't. I dismantled your bullshit, and you have given me nothing to replace it. You have no leg to stand on. You have no justification for the horrible things you did to a kid. For no reason! Because of what? Because of a God that you just want to believe in? Because of a God that you need to be true because you've staked your whole life on it? Well, that's kind of selfish, don't you think? When there's no evidence for it, when there's no reason to believe it outside of you just want it to be true? You ruin my life because you want to believe a lie? Fuck you! Fuck you! I'm a human! I didn't think I still had any of that left in me, honestly. Surprised. I'm as surprised as you are. On the subject of expressing rather than repressing, huh? I don't know how to say it more clearly. Fuck you, Mom and Dad. I am a human being. You ruined my life. You didn't listen to me then. You're not listening to me now. You ruined my life. It was you the whole time. Your belief in something that isn't there let you ruin my life and feel good about yourself for doing it. You think you're right. I need you to stop believing this bullshit. It's so stupid. This anger is at your illogic. You believe this thing for which there is no evidence, and you use it to beat me, to put this rage, this screaming. This is how my parents treated me when I was a kid. They would scream at me just like that, and they would punch me until I fucking cried. And that's that. They beat this into me. It is still in me. It will never leave me. They beat it into me. I am trying to be better, but it's still there. On the plus side, it seems to be reserved just for them now, which is fair. They're the ones who need to hear it. They're the ones who need it thrown right back in their faces because they're still not fucking listening. Did they forget? I don't know. They won't talk to me. They just deny and dodge. They deflect. They don't answer. They don't have answers. They abused me, and they're hiding from that fact. They can't acknowledge that fact, that they abused me with their screaming, with their violence, even though the evidence is so fucking clear, even though I've been telling them my whole life. It's like the words that I say don't reach their ears. It's like we don't speak the same language. Their only language is abuse, punishment. I can't speak to them. I can't talk to them as if we're on the same planet, as if we're both human beings. It's insane. It's been insane my entire life. It's ridiculous. It has to stop. Humans have to grow the fuck up. There's no God. God, if you're there, smite me. Now's the time. Do it. Tell my ex to upload this shit. You have all the power. You can do whatever you want. Do it. Kill me now. Show them. Show them you're real. Oh, are you not? Weird. Weird. Anyone can do this test, by the way. Anyone at all can do this test. And if something does happen, like, oh, then I got a headache, like, oh, or even like, oh, I fell into a coma, like, well, that's terrible luck. Weird. But I don't think it was God. Like, even if a medical coincidence happens after you do that thing, like, oh, did he smite me now? No. Well, I guess he didn't want to prove his point that badly, because he sure could have. And the reason I'm putting pressure on God to prove himself now is because as we develop more and more technology, it's going to get easier to fake a God. And if stupid religious people are looking for a God, smart people with their technology might be able to fool them into believing that he has come back or has sent his son back and is talking to them and telling them what to do, when really they're being tricked. So it's very important that we figure out how to tell truth from, lies. But no one cares. No one's going to listen to me. No one ever does. I am sorry for yelling, by the way. That one did surprise me. And here, let me record a little warning. She won't even take responsibility. What a cunty fucking move. On the subject of using the word cunt like I do, I try to reserve it for fairly extreme cases. In my head, it's not really that much worse than calling someone a dick. And it's very satisfying, like, it's got a lot of punch to it. I have said in another video that, some people might consider me a feminist based on some views I have. Based on some other views I have, some people might consider me not feminist, or maybe even a little opposite. But no, I think that people are people. I think that words are words. And when I call my mother a cunt, it's not a feminist thing. It's not a sexist thing. It's because she's acting cunty. If you'll remember, I also called God a cunt earlier in the same book. And as far as I'm, my brain, he's always been male. That's what they taught us. Men can be cunts, women can be cunts, everyone can be cunts. I think Americans should hop aboard the cunt train and stop being so scared of words. Fear is more powerful than facts here in America. She used to care. At some point, she switched to just pretending. I miss my old life. I miss happiness, stability, but it was just an illusion. A lie I bought. I wanted to make it real. I still do, but now I can't. Granny's was my best shot. I'm scared. Will I be able to handle emotional flare-ups at work? And see, part of my fear is that if I got a job, and actually even the job that I was working remotely at this time, even in the chats, I was starting to get snippy because I was just out of patience and I was crying for help, even to my coworkers. And, that's not okay. They're not the ones who need to help me. They're not the ones who need to change. Well, I mean, they've got their own problems, but yeah, it wasn't the place to do that. And I could have almost not helped myself. And that's another reason why I wanted to quit my job, because, I had to get a handle on these cries for help. I was just lashing out, and I needed to accept that, there are some things that I can't change. And the only people who need to hear what the fuck happened, in my early life are the people who fucked me up, my parents, but they're not listening. So barring that, I'm going to put it out there for anyone else who might hear to save someone like me, or just, in general, remove this faith that is based on nothing and has done a lot of damage and harm. We can keep all the good parts. Let's get rid of the shitty God. We were talking about Jesus in the comments, and my thing is, I don't want to worship Jesus. The reason Jesus is so valuable is because he was real. He was a human being we can learn from. God, we can't learn anything from. He's a magic monster who will do whatever he wants, regardless of how you act or what your intentions or your, what you do. There's nothing to learn from God other than, bad things happen sometimes. Which is actually a better lesson than the bad man in the sky makes bad things happen sometimes. But Jesus, he's just a guy. He's a smart guy going around helping people, and that's inspiring. That's what we need. Always, at any point in human history. Past, present, future. So lots of frustrations in the tech industry. Yeah, and that's another thing, is I was working in the tech industry, and so just to log into my job is 10 different devices and processes and apps I gotta open and go through and enter pins and passwords and codes and things, and it's just a mess constantly. And if any one thing goes wrong, the whole chain gets broken, and we gotta figure out workarounds, and we gotta scramble and piece everything back together, and then we go through all this work to come up with a stopgap solution, and then the next day, oh, the servers are back online, it was just an SSL cert failure. And it's oh, cool, someone just forgot to renew it. Well, that cost us a day's work, for no progress, but hey, we're still getting paid. So actually, we don't care. We're just going to keep doing work and getting paid. Doing work, getting paid. And I don't want to pretend we never did actual work. We did. I question whether the work was good for anybody, because, my particular job was, yeah, as much as I can't get into specifics, it involved making processes better for a big company. And what is the big company doing? Is that really helpful? Probably not. It's probably a bad thing in the world overall. I guess if I can focus on what I need to do, it's not going to be easy. I wouldn't blame them for firing me. I'll probably do things slower, but I might get more work done just because I'll spend more time directly on it. And that's just addressing my work habits at the time. Sorry for the stance. I'm trying to get air because it's so stuffy in here. And I think that's discussing my work habits at the time, which was, the work was hard. My life was hard. I couldn't focus. I was almost in the habit of, trying to coordinate it off to a certain, I'll just do it. I'll knock it out one day out of the week and then spend the rest of my time at work kind of, not spinning wheels, but just attending meetings, checking emails, being responsive, and being present, but not really doing more than the bare minimum, basically. And it was kind of a survival thing. And I knew it was wrong. And that's why I quit and was having all these conversations with myself. But I think that was just optimism. Oh, well, maybe this change will be good. Even though doing work slower generally doesn't result in more work being done. But if I was able to resolve all these issues and actually focus on my job, then yeah, I probably would have done a lot of work. But always remember that just around the corner is the unfathomable pain monster, ready to pounce and maul, hold you down, knock you out. Are you sure you don't want to try antidepressants? I'm pretty sure. Sounds awful, is what I wrote. And I don't want to say awful. I don't want to discourage other people from trying it. I want to say I don't want to try it. What do you have to lose? I asked myself, and I answered, could be anything. Will it make me snap and hurt people if it's the wrong medicine for me? Are there long-term health concerns? It's very scary. I don't want to try. And honestly, with my particular suicidal thoughts, it might have been a really bad idea. It's hard to say. There might be a medicine out there that would have worked for me, and there might be one out there that would have made me feel okay killing myself. Hard to say. I didn't want to roll those dice. I felt safer trying it on my own, rolling these dice, and I'm fairly happy with the results so far. Again, I don't want to say never take antidepressants or don't take medicine or anything like that. I don't know your health history, and you don't know mine, other than what I've made very explicit and shared as much as I could, which is not everything. Don't get fooled that as much as I'm sharing and trying to share basically everything, I really haven't talked about my medical history that much, and there are bits and pieces that just probably won't ever come up. But so please don't assume that I've told the whole story or that you know the whole story. Don't treat your assumptions like facts, please. It's complicated. It's all complicated. Let's see. So I said I don't want to try. Your booze and weed have definite long-term concerns. Plenty of people have killed drunk. If you don't feel those violent tendencies drunk, what makes you think prescription or OTC medicine will? And I answered, I don't know. But now my answer is, it's different chemistry. Over-the-top counter medicine is, or, prescription medicine is not alcohol. It's going to have a different effect, but it might be a better effect. I will acknowledge that too. I'm scared it'll fuck with me in sneaky ways. I'm scared it'll make things even worse. I wish I could be okay. Too many bad things happened and broke me. Medicine might be able to prop up my broken pieces and jerk them around, but it'll be very unnatural. I can't keep bitching and moaning online. No one's there to hear it. I can't do anything. Trapped in isolation. Again. Private prison, private hell. Tried to tell them, tried to tell. Robot man, silly skin suit, worthless wind-up thing. Out of energy. And here I wrote, should just be scrapped for parts. Do they take suicide victims? Can I suicide my organs to science? Gotta find something to live for, but they keep pushing/pulling me away. I miss having a life of my own. It wasn't long enough. This one sucks. And then in teeny tiny little words in the middle of the page, my own mom, and she can't understand. Truly alone. And it just makes me think of when I was a little kid, less than 5, I'm not really sure. I did have a good relationship with my parents, before I really understood their religion and before, I don't even know if there was a time before they were hitting me. But I do remember good experiences with my mother, and I remember thinking that I could talk to her about anything for a long time. But she proved me wrong. She proved me wrong a lot. Really terrible decisions, I don't know. I think the reason I was so upset about, my straining relationship with my mother is I was still hoping that she could or would fix things, or at least acknowledge that, she had kind of fucked things up in the first place. But I was starting to feel lightheaded, so I opened up the doors to let some more air in my car. So the sound might be a little worse, and we'll get occasional things passing by, but I can breathe. But yeah, my relationship with my mother was important because it was the only one that was there all the time through every move. But it wasn't a good one. Not after, I don't know, not after I was a kid. I was just hoping that, I don't know, she'd be able to make me feel secure like she did when I was a kid. And she can't anymore. I mean, she can't even make me feel loved. She can't even convince me that her love is true because of the way that she's treated me my whole life and the way that she's treating me now. So, losing her is upsetting. And losing, I say, she's not dying or anything. I figure we'll talk eventually, surely. The time I was streaming Mario Party alone in my apartment and started getting sad and Mom called. I think that was actually at my house. But I do remember that. But basically I was playing Super Mario Party, I think, on the Switch. And streaming it, but no one was watching. And I was just talking to the camera, having my own little breakdown, basically. I'd stopped the game and was just crying, basically, about the state of my life and how sad I was that I was playing Mario Party alone by myself instead of with my family or friends. Because that's something that I always used to love, is Mario Party. And while I was having that moment, my mom called and we talked. But we didn't talk about, real shit, we couldn't. I had to pretend everything was okay. That's what she wanted, and, that's what I gave her. And that let her pretend everything was still fine. And, my options are tell them what they want to hear, or we don't get a relationship. And as a kid, I didn't have any choice, so I told them what they wanted to hear. Now, I guess we're not going to have a relationship until they, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, right? I'm not trying to say until they tell me what I want to hear. Until they acknowledge the truth. They can say it in whatever the way they want, but they have to acknowledge the truth. And they can't. They just keep denying it. Like, they're so stubborn and they're so scared. They hurt me so much, and they just don't want to even try to make up for it. They don't think that they are responsible, even though they're my parents and they had all the power and they used it to abuse me. So, pretty fucked. Oh yeah, here's another interesting tidbit. I wrote a book where I turned into an alien and had to leave my family. Was that not enough of a clue? Because I did. For National Novel Writing Month one year, I wrote a couple of novels. Well, I say novels, they were short stories, basically. And I think the first one that I wrote, I forget, because I wrote two, but I don't remember which order they were in. One of them was based on a dream, and that's the one where I found a spaceship in the woods with my brother, and then I wrote the book based on that. And in the book, at the end, I turn into an alien and, leave Earth for a better life. And I shared that with my mom, and she said, the ending should be different, and his mom shouldn't let him go. That's the fucking level of imprisonment I've been dealing with, and they pretend that it's not, they pretend that it's normal. They pretend that they haven't been smothering me, stifling me. They pretend they gave me plenty of choice when they gave me none. They gave me no choice. If I tried to exercise choice, they'd hit me. Do I need to embrace madness to enjoy anything? But I sure do love order. I'm awfully funny. What the fuck am I? I am a nothing person. It's kind of what it felt like. It felt like, the 20 years of my life had just not been lived, and I'm trying to get back onto it now. All right, I'm back. Gonna try to finish up this subject. There was part in here where I said, do I need to embrace madness to enjoy anything? But I sure do love order. And that's kind of the thing of, I think it's more fun to, not necessarily break the rules, but to, be messy, or to, it's more fun in the sense that, you could just do what comes naturally and just, express yourself and, worry about the mess later, basically. But I also like things to be tidy and, not in the way, not all scattered all over the place, especially when I'm looking for them. And so I think it's just kind of that balance or struggle between law and chaos kind of thing, which are fairly arbitrary. I mean, law is it's a complicated subject. Law is a human invention, but certain laws don't murder each other or kind of just make sense. And those are things that, they don't feel as artificial as things no downloading a copy of an episode from 1992 until its rights expired. It's like that. Okay, well, that's, I don't think nature came up with that. I think that was a human thing. And it's, questionable how beneficial a lot of our laws are. But just in general, the kind of stuff in my own life, how much did I want to be structured and controlled or scheduled, and how much did I want to let myself explore and grow? Because at this point I was still kind of puppeteering myself almost. I had to think things through, and kind of in this way that we see in the book where I have to think of my life and what I'm doing in it, because it's so hard to see from inside it. And at this point I was in the habit of hiding, basically, of only doing what I had to do, taking as little risks as possible, and pretty much looking at the world from inside my head, way deep down inside. And at the bottom I had, what the fuck am I? I am a nothing person. which is how it felt. I felt like, because of that weird like puppeteering myself kind of thing, it felt like I wasn't real. It felt like I wasn't like a regular human, I guess. And what does that even mean? Do I feel that way now? I feel more normal now. I feel like, well, I understand that I am a strange person, but like, what does it mean to be a normal person? Why would I want to be uninteresting? Why would I want to be like default? Even beyond just me, like it's good for the species for people to try different things. Neurodivergency is good because we experiment, we find new strategies and things that work better than things that we had before. We can learn, we can grow. It's great. We need experimentation. We need people being different. If we all try to be the same, where are we going? What are we doing? On this page, I've just got some words and phrases floating around. Outcome unclear, try again later. Result not found. Unforeseen. Who knows? Maybe. Maybe not. Could be. Flip a fucking coin. Your guess is as good as mine. This is not how things are supposed to be. This is not how things are supposed to be. This is not the way things should be. And that one's, gets scribblier and scribblier as we go up the page, down the page. Until we get to this one, which just says, fuck, I'm so angry. I hate it so much. And, it's similar to the please, 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 please page. It's just, I don't know how else to get these feelings out. I am going to write them, channel them through the pencil into the book. And, whatever comes out kind of comes out. I was in a very dark place, upset place, just burning through pages here. Why is this my life? What the fuck kind of RNG, what kind of fucked up system could even produce? And then there's a dash. And on the other side, God's a fucking troll. Asshole, dick, shit, fucking cock, cunt. It's a very mature and well thought out criticism. Takes a real fucked up sicko to make this shit up. Fuck you, let me out. I think that's more fair. What God would make this earth? And why did he abandon us if, if we need him so much? It's strange. No fucking escape, classic, just me and my misery alone, together, forever. Some life. The positives. My ex. Money, parentheses for now. And now I have less money, but still have some. And then ... That is all. And my ex has his own life, and I have trouble enjoying anything. I hate how life has gone. The fuck am I supposed to do? Nothing to live for. No reason to try. And that's kind of, I don't want to say still true, but I don't have like a defined purpose. Like I'm just here, and I'm okay with that, which is the big difference. Like I felt before that I needed to be doing, something important, or like I needed to be using every moment of my life for the exact right thing. And now I'm like, well, I don't know what the exact right thing is. No one can. You gotta just explore. You gotta explore your options. You gotta experiment a little. You gotta figure out what works for you. And for now, this process of debugging myself, I think, is very helpful. So I'm gonna keep doing it. And after that, I don't know. I'm not worrying about it. I got some plans and ideas, things I've always wanted to do basically. But as for what will be the best opportunity or what opportunities will be available, it just depends. I'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to stake my happiness on it, That's the big mistake that I was making, is always staking my happiness on this or that, anything. But it's hard, because the things in your life do make a big difference, and I would be happier under different circumstances. That's, easy to imagine, but I can't make those circumstances true. So I gotta do, make do with what I got, basically, even though it feels like very little. It's a lot too. My ex in particular, has been very helpful. I probably will look back on this in 10 years and say, darn, yeah, should have killed myself then, again. I don't know if I hope I don't, And maybe by then I'll have learned to fucking do it. Maybe by then I'll have had enough suffering. I mean, I've had enough already. Why am I sticking around again? Who the fuck hell am I going to help like this? Maybe an anonymous advice column or something? I thought things would be different. I thought friends. Guess I'm a sucker. Professional fucking loser. And like, it's still that thing of like, I want to help people. Even when I'm feeling down, like helping people makes me feel good. And if I could do it in a way where like it doesn't necessarily matter who I am or what my background is, then, you know, they get nothing but the help. They don't have to see any of the abuse, any of the trauma, any of that, you know, badness. They can just get good, clean advice, that kind of thing. Whether or not I'm qualified for that, you know, I think this current way is better because it gives you everything. It gives you, you know, my background, my recent events, my state of mind, the way that I think, and then you can kind of make up your own minds as to what happened or what likely happened, because, you know, you can't know, you weren't there. But I know how easy it is to hurt people even when you want to help them, and so I don't want to put myself in a position where I can do that. As much as I think there's a lot of value in this book and in the whole process of me reading through it, really, I can't say for sure what that value is. I think that's the part that is a little bit more subjective or depends more on your personal experiences. It hurts. I miss them. Things were so much better then. How could this have happened? What fucked up God? What asshole? Bullying my repressed child's imaginary deity, because why not? Nothing helps anyway, might as well make myself feel a little better. Gotta find the harmless ways, though. Can't booze. Gotta give it a good shot. Can't use work as an excuse to drink, either. Probably should make far less when working. Probably should smoke less when working, I don't know. Yeah, sometimes I would get high, like not, you know, stupid high. I still needed to be able to do my job, and I did my job most of the time. But yeah, there were times when, yeah, but smoking at work was not uncommon. Depending on what my next job is, I'll do it there too. Yeah, trying to find harmless ways to vent and express myself and process these things. Uncle Friend basically said that he had kicked me out because my drinking reminded him of his ex. And so for a while I was staying here, I wasn't drinking, like, at all. But I think that only lasted a week or so. But I think that might be the point that we're at in this book, where I'm actually doing a sober streak. I miss happy. That's all that page said. I thought I was good enough. Can't even talk to me. When will I learn to stop trying? Why do I get my hopes up? Look where it's got me. Why? It was a very hopeless time. I can understand random shit. I can understand cancer. It's horrible, seems to come out of nowhere, but it is a natural process, unthinking. But my mother and my friends? How do thinking people who love me keep causing me the most pain? Middle school ex is the most understandable of the bunch, followed by Uncle Friend, still waiting for full explanation, and Mom in last place, as she can't even acknowledge what she's done when directly confronted by it. Still true. Is it really just a bad deal, and not even the worst of all time? I hate humans. We've made a hellish world. I was not involved. I would love to fight it. I'm a bit preoccupied trying to clean up their mess. I think part of the reason I hid it for so long is because I knew it was upsetting Mom. I didn't want to hate her or hurt her, but I couldn't make the bad feelings go away, so I just had to hide them, just like with video games, emotional repression. What do I do now? I let some out, but I have to go back to repressing the rest. Back to work. I don't know how to think about anything but my pain, just like Oklahoma. And that's talking about the move. Hurt so much. Why me? Why? I love them. I love so much. I have so much love, and I have to hide that too. Because, like, if I give it to them, they just take it. And, you know, it's the thing where, like, I do still love them. It's just I can't give them, I can't talk to them at all. Like, they won't listen to me unless I tell them what they want to hear, but they want to hear stupid bullshit, and I need, you know, to acknowledge the truth of what happened to me, what they did to me, and they're still denying it, which is just frustrating, upsetting. Like, They just stopped talking to me because they got nothing. It's fucking ridiculous. Some parents, man. Is anyone happy? Didn't we used to be? Why did you let this happen? Why do I have to suffer? I hate not knowing. I can only guess. No good answers, even. Fuckers all want to pretend I'm being unreasonable. I did not ruin my life. I guess I'm just too sensitive, but I can't turn that off. I have too much love. I can't get any of it out because it's just pain. Pain pouring out of me like a stuck pig. Pain pushing all of my friends and family away. Too much pain. Overflowing pain. I want to be with my friends. I want to be happy. We forgot all of the important things. It hurts. I'm lonely. I miss you. Help. I'm doing much better from this. I don't feel that pain, you know, like, it's strange. Mostly when I wake up, I'm mad. I'm mad at my parents. And like I did this morning, I'll text my dad. And, you know, it's the same stuff. It's, this is what you did to me. This is why. This is how I see it. You don't have, you know, can you explain this? Do you understand this? And you just give me nothing. That's it, basically. Like, I vent it, I get it out to them, and then I'm good. Like, it doesn't just chew me up. It doesn't eat away at me. It doesn't burn. I'm not bleeding like that stuck pig. It's more like, I guess, having a scab that you have to change the bandage on every day. But that's it. Like, it's not that bad. I don't want to die. I still don't like my life, but like, it could be a lot worse. For now, for this particular like moment in time, I'm pretty good. I'm actually happy. You know, not having a job has let me focus on all this stuff and getting through it. I feel like I'm making good progress and will be more ready for whatever comes next in my life, but I'm not rushing up to it. I want to enjoy this while it lasts. And I had ordered some N64 games off of eBay, games that I had growing up, and I've been playing those again. And it's just really nice, you know, nice, happy, simple fun. And talking to the people here too is nice. And I rode my bike yesterday. It was a pleasant day out. It hadn't been too hot. But at this particular time, I was doing much worse. Catch all the pain in a bucket. Don't gotta dispose of it. Just cycle it around. Keep it busy. Make a sneaky little love valve to let some out as needed. Able? Carefully. Unending pain must not eclipse unending love, even though the love leads to the pain. So maybe it's less like eclipsing and more like just rolling over. Or like the phases of the moon. I think we could make a sustainable love machine to eat the pain as it comes out. But right now, we're all topsy-turvy. And that's strange phrasing, but I hope that makes sense. It's talking about the processes in my brain making a sustainable love machine, eating the pain as it comes out and turning it to love. And I do think I can do that. I think I've done that before. And I'm trying to do it now. I'm working my way back up to that point. We're all topsy-turvy. That's what I said at the time. It hurts, hurts, hurts. Okay, surely that doesn't say chimp. Chirp, 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 chirp. Change my battery. No one wants to hear that. Gotta stop chirping. Gotta, I don't know what. My friends will still be my friends even if they can't help me. Some of them, but nobody wants to hear the chirping. Nobody can help. Stop getting mad at frustrating things. Bear it. Most people are too dumb to even notice. Just note it and move on. Robot man. And that's kind of a good strategy. Before, I was getting frustrated at like my phone and my laptop and websites being all fiddly, and those can still be frustrating experiences. But like before, I would get really angry and like beat up the device or, you know, rage a little bit. And what good is that? You know, the device can't hear you. The device doesn't care. The feedback box doesn't care how angrily you type. No one's going to read it anyway. And so, you know, if getting angry won't help, all you can really do is just take note of it, take it as information. This thing is a bad thing or poorly designed or made me upset, and move on. Easier said than done. But then I wrote Robot Man because I was still looking at it as kind of a negative thing because I wasn't doing it right. I needed to come out and, you know, process things as they happen, and instead I was trying to like push myself down and process things kind of from the background. I don't know how to put it really, but it's like it was the puppeteering myself kind of thing again, and I don't like doing that. I'll never forget them. I'll never stop holding out for relationships like those. I just wish I had more time with them. It's harder and harder to start over the older I get. What can I do? Fuck. Hurts. Miss you. And I do. I still miss those friends. I miss the good times that we had playing on the playground and, even stuff I didn't really like Boy Scouts and church things. They were always better with my friends. And, just having them there to talk to was such a sanity boost. It'd be really weird to see them now, how different they are. Might someday. Who knows? It's not my priority right now because, we're different people and we'd have to... I should probably get through all this myself before I try reconnecting with anyone like that. Again, lonely and lonely and lonely again, and I'll be lonely forever and there's no fixing it. So cheer up. And there's just a big frowny face. For what friends you have left, cheer up. And then there's a crying face. Because, the idea of feigning happiness just so that my current friends don't have to, be upset. I couldn't do that. I couldn't repress it again like that. The thought was too terrible. And so here we are. Sorry, friends. I am too weak. You deserve better. Yeah, I think most people deserve better than they get. Our world is real shitty. You get a bad hand as soon as you're born, and the world is... Society is currently in a point where it's kind of pushing you to be bad, and the things that are, some of the most powerful or big organizations' work efforts are going towards some of the worst things, like Amazon destroying the rainforest and all this pollution and, poisoning the environment. Those are the things that are making jobs, and those are where most people are going to end up working for, whether they intend to or not. And it can be really difficult to break the cycle of doing the wrong thing for the wrong reasons, because it does benefit you. You can make a living helping Amazon destroy the rainforest. I wish it wouldn't. I wish people would, be a little bit more respectful of our planet, but I can't control them. Just seems like it's really fucked up. I have a fierce sense of loyalty that makes it impossible to move on. It's the same with my friends as it is with my middle school ex. And the reason I keep mentioning her now is she was my first love. She was a girlfriend that I got after the move, and so I was extra vulnerable and needed, some kind of stability, connection. And she's a wonderful person, and I enjoyed our relationship, even though it was short and very, it was a middle school thing. Nothing happened, but I love her still, and I would love to get the chance to talk to her again. But she's got, I think, a wife, fiance, some kind of partner, and they're happy living off in another state, as far as I know. So it's good. It's good for them, and But yeah, I said it's the same with my friends as it is with my ex, as it is with my first love. They filled a role in my life so well, they set the bar higher than anyone else can reach. My love is meant to keep us together, but when we got separated, the love remains. No one can take their place, the love pushes them away. And so I'm saying that, my love for the friends who aren't here is so strong that I'm still, it almost makes a repelling field around me. Where I push other people away and don't let them get as close as those friends, because in some way I know that they never will be as close as those friends, just because I've known those friends longer and I've had more experiences with them from a younger age. No one can take their place, the love pushes them away, waiting for the right people who are never coming back. It still feels wrong to move on. They are the only ones for me. It hurts to be stretched across time and space in all directions by love. Yeah, I got, my original group of friends. There were 3 very good ones. And then after that, I moved and I made another friend and his family and my girlfriend and, some other various classmates and things. And then moved again, met my ex that I'm living here with now. And then the D&D group, which was 3 other friends, maybe 4. And and my college roommate, and like all these people that like I can kind of get close to and have relationships with still, but like it's not, I wasn't honest like at the time. Like they in way don't even know me because I wasn't being myself. I was trying to game my own life instead of living it, and it felt like, you know, all these relationships were pulling me apart instead of just being positive things, people that happened and were in my life. I'm really struggling to make sense of how this all happened. Curse is my best guess at the moment. My love wasn't wrong or misplaced. It can't be retracted. I'll always be overstretched, in pain. How to bear it, how to keep it from spilling and spilling and spilling and spilling out. What awful luck. I had a nice time last night. A reminder that such a thing is possible. Truly. It wasn't much, really, but I played Rogue Legacy 2 while my ex played the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and we listened to Night Vale, at least until we paused it because his game was getting interesting. But I was starting to conk out by that point anyway. We don't get much time to spend like that. I've thought about reaching out to my college roommate. Yeah, these, you know, that's the kind of simple little experience that I've been missing. Just enjoying time with a loved one, and it was nice. You know, I've talked a lot about my blanket fort in the living room, but when I first got here, I was just hanging out in my ex's room. And so I had my laptop playing Rogue Legacy on his bed, and he was watching or playing the Final Fantasy thing on the TV in his room, and yeah, it was just nice. You know, we spent time together. And then, you know, as far as more recent moments like that, yesterday, you know, I talk to them almost every day now. Like, we're always hanging out in the garage, and my ex has been off this past week, so we were seeing him more, but he's going back to work soon, so woo. But like 2 days ago, the other guy who lives here played some Rugrat scavenger hunt with me on N64. Which is a pretty good game to play when you're high, because it's not that complicated. I do think abstaining from alcohol is helping, and I do think not abusing alcohol is helping. I wake up and my brain doesn't take hours to spin up. Yes, that is so nice. A hangover can really tank a whole day's productivity. I'm not hogging the bathroom or embarrassing myself outside. Yeah, sometimes I go outside to throw up because, you know, people might need the bathroom, or I don't know whether I'm going to throw up, and I think that walking outside might help. Sometimes it does. Sometimes I end up throwing up by the shed. But I haven't done that in a while either. I do miss being drunk, but I'm trying to get high enough to concentrate. Concentrate? I think compensate probably would have been the right word there, but get high enough to concentrate. That's a funny way to put it. Getting high doesn't necessarily help concentration. It can, especially with sativa. I usually smoke indica, but I'm not sure what I was specifically referencing here. I do worry about the long-term effects of me smoking so much, and that's still true. I still think, you know, smoking is harmful, and I still think I smoke too much more than is healthy. You know, zero is healthy, right? But I'm letting me do that for now while I work through these other difficult things. I'll try to cut back maybe when I'm doing better, let the alcohol withdrawals pass, get a handle on my episodes, but I want to try to go back to work soon. I don't want to rush it. And that subject I called longing. Longing for all my friends, for good relationships, longing for better times. There was still plenty of anger in there, but it was more, like, toward the end there, it was more just sad and reflective. And even starting to think toward the future of changing my habits and trying to make whatever experience I'm going to have better. I do miss my friends. I say it a lot in this book and just in general, but I do. They meant the world to me. I can't overemphasize how important they were and how wonderful they were. And I think that's critical to understanding why it hurt so much, why it was so damaging for me to be removed from them, taken from them, no longer in that environment. You know, I think given all of the evidence that we have today, there's no indication that God was ever here, ever affected human history or our species. It seems like a really stupid thing to believe so strongly, and They think it makes people worse than they can realize as long as they believe it, because it separates you from reality. You can't see things the way they are. You invent your own justification, you invent your own reasoning, and that's you can do anything with that. It doesn't have to be grounded, it doesn't have to make sense, it doesn't have to be right. You can do the wrong thing and pretend it's right just because, you imagine a friend in your head who says it's okay, who makes you feel okay. And like I told my dad today, it's easy to imagine a comforting presence. Anyone can do that. It's nice sometimes, I think that's the feelings that he's talking about when he says that you can feel, God is real. Like, you can imagine that, yes, but I think it's just you giving yourself those feelings. Like, it doesn't mean that God is real, even if you feel that. I think you feel the comfort of, believing in such a presence, even though to me, God is a scary monster thing that I don't want to be real. And so I really do think that going, as humanity goes into the future, the biggest thing we need to get straight is information, facts. What is truth and what is assumption. We can work with assumptions, but we shouldn't treat them the same as, truth, things that have been verified, proven, and God has not. Not by, any measurable standard, reproducible standard, no. And those are the standards that kind of matter, because, if we can't reproduce or prove or talk to God, like, what use is he other than to justify whatever you want to do? Christians actually do scare me. Because I don't know what they're going to do. They can't be trusted because they believe in nonsense, and all they need is to think that their God wants them to do something, no matter how crazy, and they'll do it, like, wholeheartedly. And yeah, I think that's very scary. I don't want people like that in positions of power. I don't want people like that around me. But I live in the Midwest. They are everywhere. It's impossible to avoid. And, I don't think they're monsters. I'm just scared of them. I don't want to just tell you, you shouldn't believe in God or you'll be a bad person. Like, I think in my parents' case, their beliefs make them bad people. But, every person is different. I don't want to assume anything about the people watching this video. And I think I've rambled enough in this video anyway. So thank you for watching. Please use your brains. Be honest. Love yourself. Love everybody. I love you. I hope you have a good day. I don't know when I'll get to subject 3. Might be another week. I'm not sure. These are big and slow. Thank you for watching.